Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. Let's take a quick look once more at Bitcoin and see what's going on. Low 94,000. Feeling pretty good about this, just in the simple sense that we keep retesting this lower support at about 93,700. The more you consistently retest something, the more likely it is to break. Okay, and again, I'm only feeling good about that because it's moving the direction of our trade. We're in a short about 95,000 for Bitcoin. I opened that trade last night, which is less common, of course, but I got a lot of alerts kind of letting us know that we had some divergences. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But more importantly, let's go ahead and jump into liquidation too and kind of go from there. Please hit that like button. And also thank you for hitting those like buttons, folks. We got over 100 likes yesterday on our video, my Bitcoin video. That's it's kind of like a new high. So let's keep that going, keep it going. Really appreciate you doing that for me. So thank you. I guess people are listening, not just to my request, but also the analysis as well. So congrats to our people who are shorting Bitcoin right now. Either way you look at it here, what we're looking at is 93,000 to about 92,300. So easy numbers, 92 to 93K is that local area of support, but also more importantly, we got a lot of liquidation down there. Okay, keep in mind liquidation occurs in support ranges. All right, so that's why they're commonly manipulated, because the simple fact that market makers see, okay, wow, we got billions of dollars here in that area. Let's go ahead and sweep that area, sell our Bitcoin, and essentially just buy into the lower price point. So they just make billions of dollars off of our billions of losses. It's really unfortunate, but it's just kind of the way the market works. Okay, anyways, it's not always just that clear and transparent. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going down, but it does imply that there's more incentive and or a kind of that runs concurrent with the confluence that we're seeing on the charts too. So oftentimes when you look at liquidation, you see like these massive concentrations that are close to the price action, and you see a bearish divergence leading into it. There's a solid chance we're going to see that price point hit. So just, while it's not a guarantee, it's just a larger statistical probability. And that's all we're doing here, folks, when we trade, is we're trying to find larger probabilities of success when we trade in either direction. Simple as that. So speaking of larger probabilities, we got roughly 10 billion, between 10 and 8 billion in liquidation short delta, basically just implying that we have more shorts than longs in the market right now. No surprise, the price is going down for Bitcoin ever since we hit that $97,000 macro point of control resistance range. So that's kind of where we're at there. This basically just implies if we stay this high for too long, we may not go much lower. So keep in mind, you stay overextended on liquidation delta, the price does tend to reverse itself. So if we don't break through this support level here the next day or two, I think we may be going back up. All right, we'll pay attention to that. I don't think it's super concerning, or it's just it is what it is. And the whole concept of liquidation is just recognizing that it's just kind of an increased odds, if you will. Okay. Sorry, I sound like a broken record saying that over and over again, but I like to kind of reiterate certain things because we got a lot of new traders over the community here, and it's important to recognize that it's not always it's not an exact science, but there's definitely something to it. Having said that, though, 95,000, just reiterating and reinforcing that resistance for us. Hence the reason why I felt confident shorting at 95K, because I didn't hold as a support level like it should have. And if you saw my videos from over the weekend, you'll see like price was at 97,000. I was like, I'm considering a long at 95K. But considering and doing something is two different things, right? And the reason why I was considering that is because that level should have held as a support. Since it didn't, we broke through that level, we got to treat it like a resistance. All right, so 95,000 is that consistent number here that we're seeing. Furthermore, too, just to kind of clarify support and resistance levels, 95.3 is a little more specific. That's where we're seeing the most amount of 4-hour candlestick closures. And then roughly here, 93,700 is that lower range. Okay. So daily time frame, let's quickly note here and kind of recognize where we're at. All moving averages are below the price action, so we're not truly bearish on this coin. I think the macro is still very good. So please don't get it twisted. Just because I'm talking about a short-term correction doesn't mean I'm a perma bear here. Some people seem to misinterpret that and get a little volatile in the comments. But for the most part, you got to give it chance. You got to give this a chance to hold, right? For right now, we're still working above our ascending trend. We're over 50 in the RSI. While MACD is diverging and stochastic swinging down, that's implying a shorter term correction. There's a decent chance we still continue to hold and maintain these levels. So my hope and aspiration would be to take a long in the 90 to 88,500 range. We have a lot of confluence there with moving averages, previous highs that haven't been retested, and look at this fair value gap, quite significant the fair value gap comes as low as 88.5 exactly with that local high. So we just moved up too fast, too quick here. There's a lot of profits to be taken, and surprisingly, it hasn't happened yet. But I do think we're due. Anyways, if that happens, just be mindful that altcoins are going to take a pretty significant hit. So I'm not implying you short all the altcoins, but if you saw any of my videos from yesterday, you'll know that shorting altcoins is a good strategy at this point, and majority of them are down quite substantially. So quick congrats, by the way, to our community here for our nice profits on our SUI short. That's 32%. Granted, that was over the weekend. We didn't short it a second time, but it rejected pretty cleanly off its resistance here. Anyways, if you watch those videos, you'll know. But let's go ahead and look at the 4-hour time frame. We can recognize we're underneath all moving averages here. We're rejecting or potentially rejecting off that $95,000 level. We saw a wick up to 95K. And then we look here. We're under 50 on the RSI. We're right there at our moving average. While money flow index is increasing, that's a very standard thing when people buy these kind of dips. So I'm not going to read into that. That can give you a false positive, so be careful taking a trade in that regard. And the MACD is trying to converge too, but this is just kind of that natural capitulation that occurs here. But if you do look at this type of pattern, these patterns generally break to the downside. Okay, so it's kind of like a triangle pattern. So oftentimes the price will work its way down, retest the lower low more consistently, and then inevitably break. So it's looking like a pretty distinct probability we're going down. And not to mention we do have this power of 3 play out potential here as well. Because if we lose this level here, folks, we're going to go down quite quickly. Okay, so be ready for a fast travels to like the 92, 91K range. I think that's a distinct probability at this point. Once more, it's just a statistical probability we go down lower because we have a lot of divergences here. There's very few things telling us that we're good to go. Yes, there's a MACD convergence on a 1-hour time frame. I saw that earlier, but if you're taking trades based on one indication and you're just it's a hope and a prayer, then I think you're not putting yourself in a position to be successful. Okay, so once more, everything we've seen here so far is mostly bearish. Now, can it turn around? Of course it can. Bitcoin has a tendency of doing that. That's how market makers manipulate the price. They get so many people to try to start shorting this coin, and then instantly they buy in and just destroy everybody. So that's why you got to kind of be careful with how you take profits. Make sure you secure profits when you can, and just try not to be an emotional idiot. Okay. All right, folks. I hope you learned something today. Thanks again so much for watching. My anticipation is we'll probably continue to range between 93 and 95K as a rough estimate, and then potentially more likely to break down than up in the immediate future. Granted, we hold this level for a while, volume starts to increase. We may see a different thing there, and it all depends on the conversation tomorrow too. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's an FOMC tomorrow or some kind of important fundamental catalyst that could effectively push the price higher or lower. So we'll see what happens there, folks. Either way, be careful. I hope you all have a great rest today. Thanks so much again for joining me here. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.